Hey, Natsu here. Today, going to start a new What If. Once again for the third day in a row. So, this is going to be a second What If in a series of 3. Devil Fruit Deku. They will not meet each other, that will not happen. But basically, it's because I wanted to do all 3 categories of fruit, with Deku having their powers. So now, this one is going to be the Paramecia type of fruit. The one he's going to get is the string fruit. So, this is going to be part 0. The world building. So, in this world, devil fruits are basically there since an unquantifiable amount of time. Not that long in reality, but they don't actually know when they actually started appearing. And in this one, compared to my lava fruit Deku, not a lot of people know about them. Actually, those that do know about them are pretty much those that actually ate some, or those that know someone who know he ate one. Most of the fruits are or unused, or hidden, or just somewhere in the wild. So, Deku is born quirkless. He should not have a quirk. So, he will not basically get an added bonus over the fruits. For the weaknesses of the fruits, it's basically an element that counters it. Another fruit that is basically made to fight against it, or water. Sea prism stones doesn't exist. So in this world, there are other people that have those fruits, heroes, villain. Some people just that have found one of them and eat it and don't even know that it was that gave them the power. They just think it was a weird fruit, and that's basically where they got, and that they got their quirk just unlocked or something like that. So, Deku is born in the exact same time that he did in the anime. And, basically, until he's 3, his life is basically the same. No differences. No, nothing, in fact. Until he's 3, where, with his mom and some other friends and their parents, basically. So Box goes there. He doesn't have his quirk yet. Actually, most of the kids don't. They basically went on a camping trip that was basically just kind of the idea of one person and everyone, and they basically sent invitation, and everyone kind of went with. So, on that trip, basically, they went in a forest, and pretty easily they were kind of in the middle of a wood, basically, where a lot of people basically say that they found weird fruit there, or caves and stuff like that. Sometimes they found treasures buried. So basically, like some place where pirates would have put stuff. So like treasures and stuff. So after basically getting there, the kids decided to go play, Bakugo, some of their friends, and while they were playing, one of them found a cave. All of them basically were kind of intimidated by it, until Bakugo told Deku that he bets him that he won't be able to go in there. Deku was really scared, but since Bakugo basically, well, he doesn't have his quirk yet, but Deku still thinks of him as a cool person, so he basically wants to prove to him that he's brave, and goes in. In that cave, basically, for a while, he just walked, and at some point, he basically just kind of realized that there's light at the end of the tunnel. So he basically keeps following it, and he ends up, well, the way he walked in the mountain basically was, it was going up, it was going down, turning in some places, but it was always a single path. And in that moment, he was basically starting to go up a lot. So he kept going and ended up getting out, basically on the top of the mountain. It wasn't a big one or stuff like that, but basically he came up at the end of the mountain, well, on the top of the mountain, in a big hole with a single tree in the middle. Looking up, he basically sees the wall go up and end with a lot of trees basically covering the around the hole, basically making it hard for anyone to see in or out. And he was hungry by then, so he basically went and took the fruits. He ate it and spat it out because it was disgusting. And basically just decided to go back. Well, actually, he didn't really spit it out. He swallowed it, but he didn't eat more afterward. And basically, once he came out, the others basically laughed that it took so long. Basically, just laughed at how long it was. That they were almost ready to come look for him. And they went back to the camp. After about an hour or so, parents decided to basically go do different activities with their children, and wait, so okay, so be ready. Yeah, sorry about that. So the parents basically went and took their kids to play, and one of them in particular, well, a small group of them in particular, Inko, Deku, Bakugo, and Mitsuki, and two other parents and kids, basically gathered up um, at a specific place, which was basically in the middle, well, close to a lake. And they were just kind of playing there until one of the kids basically just fell in the water. Wait, no, not a lake. It's a river. Because a lake doesn't have currents. But yeah, basically he fell in the river and was starting to be brought away by the river with strong currents. Basically next to the river there was a small fence made of wood that was basically rotting because of the time it was there and the humidity next to it. A kid basically grabbed onto it and just pushed a bit and basically had fallen in. Everyone was basically freaking out a bit, and Deku basically just thought, I want to save him. I'm just too far, and when extending his arm, strings basically came out and wrapped up around the arm of the other kid. And basically Deku kind of felt the pull, but was able to keep it for like just enough time so that someone was able to grab onto him and help him pull the kid out, saving him. After that, they kind of just started to realize, wait, he used his quirk. Everyone was basically just happy at first that the kid was safe, and then basically realized that Izuku unleashed his quirk used his quirk for the first time, as well as having unlocked it earlier than what most kids do. So Bakugo this time, instead of being the first one to unlock his quirk, Deku was, making Bakugo look up to Deku instead. A pretty big change, to be honest. But Deku, being with Inko, didn't have it go to his head, and actually kept a cool mind about it. So, so after that, Deku was basically praised by multiple people for saving the kid, as well as being praised for his quirk, who was able to do that. Some people basically asked him to show it, and he basically tried to think of sending strings. And he basically moved his hand in a certain way, and a string came out and basically hit a tree, but instead of wrapping up around it, it just cut straight through it, basically cutting it in half, making multiple people be amazed by that, but also multiple people being a bit scared at first. So, some people basically just saw, a kid cut a tree in half with his quirk, but also know that if he wants to, it won't cut, because he actually wrapped it around the arm of someone and was able to pull him out of water. So, they didn't get that scared of it. They actually thought that it was pretty cool that he was able to control it to do that, basically. Instead of simply being strings that were able to grab something, he can also cut. And basically after that, many things happened until Bakugo got his quirk. Bakugo basically asked Deku to fight against him to see whose quirk is better. And Deku basically used his strength to wrap Bakugo. Bakugo tried to use his explosion to break them, but it basically didn't do that much to the strings. Because the strings of the string fruit are pretty frigging tough to break, in fact. Or, to be honest, I think the only way to actually cut through them is with Haki that is stronger than that of the user of the fruit. Haki is not in this, and the two only counter devil fruit that I can see to break them is actually the one that transforms your hand into scissors, and the fruit, the barrier fruit, who basically doesn't get cut by it because it can literally take any type of damage without even having a scratch, to be honest. So, oh yeah, also, there's someone in class that will be replaced with someone else with a fruit. I actually decided what fruit it would be. The only thing that I haven't decided yet was a name for the person. But I don't have to worry about that right now. So, okay. After basically all of that happening, Bakugo got beaten by Deku, and both of them decided to start training. Basically, Bakugo wanted to try and be stronger than Deku, while Deku just wanted to increase his own power, basically. Deku found out that he was able to fully control his strings to, an almost perfect control. Basically, he was even able to make them move in a way he wants. He basically learned how to make a good amount of strings at once. And at some point he even got hurt and basically tried to see if he could just heal his... Basically, he got a scratch on his arm, and he basically controlled his strings to basically close the gap and basically hold it closed. Basically making it look completely healed. For sure, it wasn't fully healed. It was just closed and didn't hurt that much afterward. But yeah, basically he learned all of that by the time he was like 10. After all of that, Deku and Bakugo fought many times afterward, both of them being extremely strong, both physically and with using their quirks. Bakugo tried to find a way to basically not be on the ground while fighting Deku, and basically thought of propulsing himself with his quirk to stay in the air, basically flying. So yes, sorry about that. So Deku basically saw the way that Bakugo flies, and basically asked himself, could my quirk actually help me do something like that? And basically tried to see if he could, he basically wrapped his strings on himself and basically started looking, well, trying to stick them to practically anything. Which, after a while, he basically was able to. And he saw that he can make his strings extremely long, right? And basically tried to do something that he basically told it to Bakugo before that, and Bakugo was literally laughing at him. He said that his strings are pretty, well, extremely small. And that if he had the capacity for it, he might be able to actually grab them to clouds. He's pretty intelligent, but basically he just thought maybe I can just grab on something in the air, basically. Which, as we know from Doflamingo himself, if there's cloud in the sky, you can literally just send your strings to grab onto it. So Deku doesn't have a bad idea. It's just that they don't know if it could actually work. But he basically tried it and saw that, yeah, he can actually do it. It's pretty far for him to do that, but he's able to get there. Which, even he didn't know it, how fast it would take to go there, but he basically decided to send it as fast as he could, and it basically made the way pretty freaking fast. He didn't know himself if he could do that. But he can basically fly as long as something's up there. So Deku basically, kept up and training with that, augmenting the speed of his strings and also the amount that he can do. He will not, later in the What If, he will get the Awakening, but that's going to be way later. For now, he basically is able to do a lot of strings, and has a pretty freaking huge amount of it that he can send. After that, we skip to the day where Deku met All Might in the OG, and the Sludge Villain basically didn't have a chance against Deku because he kept training even afterward, making himself extremely powerful and extremely hard to even come close to beating. If he has the capacity to use his strings, which the Sludge Villain didn't know, and basically what Deku did was try to put him in a ball, basically with like 7 or 8 different layers of strings, basically making it completely airtight, making it impossible for the Sludge Villain to even escape. The Sludge Villain was basically unable to do anything until All Might arrived, basically asked what the hell what that was. Deku basically just said that something tried to attack him. He's sorry that he used his quirk to protect himself, but the villain is in there. All Might basically ready to punch and just asked Deku if he could take the ball to the police. Deku said okay, but that these strings are almost unbreakable. He doesn't know they are literally unbreakable if you don't have one of two things yet, but still. Making All Might think, it's going to be fine. But Deku basically telling him that he would better be, well, he should probably take instead, just like putting it, like in something else. Because the sludge villain won't even be able to breathe in there, and depending on how long it takes, he could probably pass out or die. So All Might basically took his word and basically asked him to just try and knock out the villain just before that. So Deku basically just compressed the ball until the villain was knocked out. All Might placed it in the bottle and just left. After that, Deku just kept training, and by the time we get to UA, Deku would basically be close to, well, basically the only one that would basically be able to fight against him in UA, if we count about students that we saw. I would say Shinso, if they could speak. Mirio, by literally passing through the strings, because he would be able to. Or, well, I don't see anyone else for now. But yeah, basically, Deku basically makes himself an armor almost every time he fights. Basically doing what Doflamingo did, making a clone of himself, but instead of just... because he can make the strings in different colors, and basically make something that looks exactly like him. Like, the only moment that Deku doesn't have that is when he's not actually thinking that something could come and fight, or stuff like that. Bakugo did not get one for all, and his strength is basically comparable to before the license exam, because he trained since basically the moment he got his quirk to try and fight against Deku. The person that gets one for all is actually Tokoyami in this. All Might found him basically around 2 months after meeting with Deku. So yeah. Tokoyami was able to clean the beach fast. He learned to use one for all. Basically what he does is actually put it around his body to increase his speed and strength, and also put it in Dark Shadow to basically make Dark Shadow extremely more powerful. And I'm going to end it here before the entrance exam. Hope you liked it. Leave a like if you did. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section. I'm going to leave a link to my Discord in the description. Come and join us, it's pretty fun there. If you're not subscribed, you can subscribe and to try and get my videos the moment they come out. Or just come to my Discord when my video is uploaded. They automatically get posted there. So yeah, hope you liked it. Natsu.